Okay, I'm going to call this meeting to order at 6:33 p.m. We're here to talk about the repaving project for North Road. The section of Royalton is 2.2 miles, and we've got 13 culverts that need to be replaced, as well as restoring ditches and grading the road appropriately and repaving the entire length. Our estimated cost of this project is $1.5 million, and we've been awarded a $200,000 paving grant from the state of VTrans. We have a cash reserve of $541,000. And this year we're going to be contributing an additional $150,000 to the Highway Improvement Fund. And so that's, that takes a chunk of the estimated cost. But of course, we have to wait and see what the actual cost is of this project. Have you got anything you want to add?
Just that I've ridden a road. I've heard from a lot of you. I've ridden the road with representatives from Pike and from VTrans. The repair is obvious and long overdue, and I apologize for that. But long story short is it's time. So I've ridden this road with representatives from Pike, VTrans, and our road crew, and it's obvious that it needs to happen. The ditches are higher than the road in some places, and patches aren't going to get the job done. VTrans said don't even bother, like whatever they put 3/4 of an inch down or something like that. So it's time we take care of it. I think Barnard and Bethel have done their job in previous years. It's time for us to do ours.
So did you estimate the cost of $1.5 million, or is that a quote that you got? It's supposed to be solid.
It's supposed to be solid via VTrans sort of, looking at historically what things are going for right now and from the engineer.
Okay, so the other money you're talking about, I think that cuts it down to about $900,000.
Yes.
8 to 9.
Yes.
So is that going to be in the warning instead of the $1.5 million? I mean, at the vote?
We
So
have to
people
bond.
know what it's going to be?
We have to bond for the whole amount. And that's what we're doing right now. We need to bond for the entire amount, and that is why the bond is for $1.5 million, because that's the total cost of the project. And if we can cut it down, the taxpayers' expense down after that, that's to your benefit rather than having to borrow the whole amount.
I mean, it's sort of spelled out right here in the warning that subject to reduction by available grants, in aid, or other funding sources to be issued to finance the cost of replacing culverts and repaving its entirety.
That's the cost. The cost of the project is $1.5 million. So what we have to bond for that amount. And
right,
then if,
I understand that.
okay, because
Information
we have options.
could be put out there so people know a little better. I don't know. It's just a thought.
Communication's key.
Foundation hasn't been on the North Road in years. And we're supposed to just say, well, maybe they'll be nice to us and let us have a new road. Where we have been paying taxes, my own case since '71, and fixed up a lot of roads in the town of Royalton that I rarely have ever traveled, because I think that's the fair way things ought to work. But now to find out, particularly in a year when the legislature has literally hammered everybody with the tax rate, now we are depending on the goodwill of people who can't afford to feed themselves to vote to fix up our road. And I just want to, can you make some connection between the fact that it's been promised for years without any mention of a bond vote?
Well-
This is the year we're going to do it.
Well,
And now I find it in the current situation, I'm not optimistic about it, Dave.
last year we got hit in July with a weather event that caused us to have to rebuild some roads, totally rebuild them. And that was unexpected, and it took a big hit.
I'm not saying that you should have kept your promise when you had a road being washed out. What I'm saying is, there was no mention made at any time when I was told specifically by selectmen, this is the year we're gonna do it. If it gets delayed a year because of Broadbrook or some other problem, I got no problem with that.
Well, we're trying,
But to find it now where it's a vote of the whole town, where there's probably 10% of the population that use that road, I'm not optimistic it's gonna pass, and I guess my further question is, then what? If it gets voted down, is it over? Do we scrape the blacktop off and go back to the dirt road? What's the plan if it gets voted down?
well, that's one of the points of the other money in the funds to maybe pay for the project in a different way. But, I mean, what's happened over the past years is beyond our control too.
Can't hear you. What?
What has happened in the past years is beyond our control too. We're not the same select board that you talked to 5 years ago.
I have no problem with it being delayed. I want to make that clear. I probably would have done the same thing. But I wouldn't say we were going to do it, definitely, and then say, well, we'll let the town vote on it. They may vote it down, we don't have to do it at all.
We have to ask the town to vote on it. We can't just go ahead and work on the road without having the town's input.
You can't work on a road without a bond vote?
Not of this amount of money, no.
Well, then you shouldn't have said you were going to do it.
Yeah, I think not too many years in the past, the highway department has had a huge surplus. And I think we have been, were in a position to deal with it without having to go to a bond. But I think what happened last summer just kind of took care of that surplus.
Can we, hold on, so because of how the sound is set up, if folks don't stand up and talk to the mic, we're not gonna pick you up on the recording, which we have to provide to everyone after, so if you could please use microphone, that would be great.
Tim told me when I talked to him about a year ago that you guys had the funding to do the road. He said your road's going to get done. No, you verbatim. You said we have the funding. We are allocated. We already used it one time. We got it again, and our road is going to be fixed. So I just didn't. I want to know where did that money?
So I'm sorry that I said that, okay? I apologize for that. We have a roads grant. We are going to, you missed the beginning. So we have $150K and a $200,000 road grant, and we're going to kick in 500. We don't have all of it, okay? We have a good portion of it. We have to bond for the entire thing. We have to, for the entire amount of 1.5.
Okay.
It's going to be, the bond will be reduced by whatever we take in, which is still to be determined. So if I misspoke, I apologize. But the amount of work that needs to be done, as you know, as a builder of roads. The ditching is higher than the road bed. The road is in bad shape, and the culverts are undersized. And first glance, we didn't have we're going to replace more culverts than we anticipated. So, yeah, we are. So,
Okay,
So-
I guess what the question of is, it's not gonna get better with time.
no. And V-Trans, when I drove the road with V-Trans and Pike and our own road crew, it was clear that it's not going to get better with time, and it's not going to be better with Band-Aids. We put cold patch on it last year to try to get us to this point.
Okay.
The only question I have is, are you guys worried about the lawsuits? I mean, because I live right on the corner.
I know where you live.
And I've watched 3 vehicles this year alone, a motorcycle crash onto my lawn because of that hole that's never been fixed from Irene. I mean, I fixed it. I mean, the town didn't fix it. The
Right.
culvert's been plugged for 10 years. Like, the town can't plow the road. They pick the plow up and they drive up past. They put tons of salt on. The road is so bad that they can't actually drop the plow. So I don't see how it's even up for a vote. It's a safety issue. You are going to get a lawsuit that's
Right.
going to bankrupt this town. I had a guy come down through, hit that hole, do 5 flips. You're lucky he either didn't have a license or the motorcycle wasn't, because he could have sued the shit out of you.
Right.
And his motorcycle was all over my lawn. Like, and that's the 3rd vehicle that's crashed because of that hole this year alone.
And that's not even the response.
And you guys have paid to have the lines painted 3 times. And you can't drive in your line or you'll total your vehicle.
So unless you tell V-Trans that, yes, we're going to do this in the next couple months, they're going to automatically line that road. It's,
Okay.
I mean, when I talk to them, that's what
But
they
you're
say.
paying for that though.
Well, we all do, yeah.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. Like, it's a waste of money. The paint, I mean, I don't know
It
what it
is.
costs to
It's-
paint, but
right.
they've done it 3 times and you cannot stay in your lane or your vehicle's totaled.
I just want to say, it's long overdue.
No, but I'm just trying to say that it shouldn't get to vote. It shouldn't be a vote thing. It should be a safety issue. We shouldn't have to.
Right.
It's not even, it's way past voting. I mean, the town can't plow it. They can't put the plow down. We have to drive through 6 inches of slush in the middle of winter. And I got a $80,000 car that is getting rotted to shit because they use 3,000 pounds of salt a winter because they can't plow it.
Right.
I mean, it's a safety issue. It's not even do we have the money?
Yeah.
I'm going to ask my question again. If you accept for the moment my pessimism and the people in town who never used North Road vote down the bond, what is the plan? So you don't have a plan? If you don't have a plan, just say, we don't know what we'll ever do with the North Road.
I think it's our job to convince voters that just as though we've invested in every single, we've invested just as much money in Johnsonville and Gee Hill and Broadbrook and everywhere else collectively. It's the North Road's time to get repaired correctly.
And how have you gone about convincing people, excuse me, how have you gone about promoting that among the townspeople?
We received the engineering plan, I don't know, a week ago, 10 days ago, something like that. We haven't had a lot of time to get out the vote, but,
And you have a vote coming up next week.
yeah.
So I guess the answer to my question is, if it gets voted down, there is no plan for ever fixing the North Road.
Well, right now we have 850 to do it.
But nobody knows that, unless the people here.
No, we have the road grant.
Is it on that warning that you think you got 800 lined up?
No, the warning has to say.
That's my point.
It has to say.
That is my point. People think when they're getting hammered by the legislature with what, 13% tax increase, that, oh, now we're supposed to pay another $1.5 million for a road that we never use. I mean, if I was operating hand to mouth, I'd probably vote it down too.
Right, but you in good faith have also voted in favor of fixing Broad Brook and.
Of course,
Bee Hill.
it's fair.
Right.
I don't have a problem with that. But again, I'm not optimistic about this. And I think you guys ought to figure out what the hell you're gonna do if and when it gets voted down. And you should have made public what your best guess is at what the cost of the taxpayers is gonna be, which you haven't done. And it won't be done before the town vote. So I'm frustrated. And you might be able to figure that out from my comments, but anyway, it's a sad damn situation.
Anybody else have anything to add?
Excuse me, Robert. If it gets voted down, can there be a revote? Always. So if that does get voted down and we have a revote, can you get it out to the public that it's not an article in the paper or something from the select board to say, hey, this is not gonna cost, I mean, I know it's gonna cost that, but we're getting money from our town that we've already got in surplus.
Yep.
So can that be done, and will you do it?
Absolutely.
A nice article, not some little blip. All right, thank you.
What's the chances, I mean, you say you got 800,000, what's the chances of using, if it does get voted down, using the 800,000 to at least grind it back to dirt and leave it at dirt for a while? Because at least at dirt, you can maintain it. Right now, it's unsafe and unusable. I mean, what is the chances of at least doing it in stages if it does get voted down to where you spend the money we do have to make it passable for the people that pay ungodly taxes in this town to be able, I mean, I pay tons of money to inspect and register and have my car be on the road, and it's not, the road's not fit for my car. I mean, it destroys it.
But then you're gonna have people going through culverts that are no good.
No, I mean, obviously you have to replace the culverts, but I mean, there's a certain point of, I mean, it's unsafe to drive the way you're driving right now.
We did look at that option, and I believe we came up with the thought that it was gonna take longer to repave it. If we did it in, strip the pavement off, repair the culverts, let it sit, get ready to
I agree
do
with
it,
you, it
pave
should
it
be
again,
all-
and it would take longer, and it'd probably cost more.
I agree with you, but it may cost more, but in
And-
the long run, when you get sued, it's not if, it's when, because you are going to get sued.
Well, we're working at this, trying to get it through.
No, I
and-
know, but
and
you're gonna let people that
all
don't
I'm
drive
hearing
the
is-
road judge it. I mean, you guys wanna put all this money into other things, and this road is a danger to this society. I mean, we have people, I mean, not just from this town, thousands of people from out of state go by there, and they crash. And eventually, one money-hungry person from Massachusetts is gonna be like, it's the town's fault. And they have every single, but I'm gonna be on their side. They have every right to sue the shit out of you. I mean, and they're gonna do it too. I mean, it's just a fair warning.
Can you use that?
Can we give somebody else a chance to speak?
Let me
Are you?
quick question. Can you use that 800 that you're confident that you can get to do half of it?
We'll do as much as we can.
Can't hear you.
We'll do as much as we can.
So in other words,
Yeah.
but can you get that money if the town isn't kicking in the rest?
I don't know about the 200 from V-Trans.
Okay,
I don't know if it would help us with a partial fix.
okay,
I can't answer that
okay,
with
fine.
100% certainty.
If you don't get the bond vote, can you take the difference and go and talk to Mascoma Bank or a local bank for more of a traditional loan?
I think we ask our financial wizard here.
So statutorily, no. The reason that there's a bond vote is because we have to borrow money to do the project, and in order to borrow money to do a project, you have to go to the voters and ask permission to borrow. You have to ask for what you anticipate the full value of the project is, regardless of how much money you have set aside. So that's why when you read that article, it says, you know, it's 1.5 million to be reduced by available grants and other town funding. I did run the numbers. If the select board made the decision to go with, okay, the project costs 1.5 million, we have 200,000 awarded from VTrans, and we're gonna borrow 1.3 million. And we were going to increase the tax rate to pay for that, you're looking at about 3 cents on your tax rate, which equates to $30 for every $100,000 in value. I don't anticipate that that's what the select board will choose to do. We contribute $150,000 every single year to the Highway Infrastructure Reserve. So they have the option not only to kick in what we already have available in the reserve, but also to make that decision that, okay, from what we've borrowed year over year of what we're already contributing to the reserve, we're gonna use a portion of that to pay the debt service. So there are lots of options for how to pay for the project going forward that will make the most sense for the town, but we do have to have a bond vote regardless of how much we borrow, and it has to be for that 1.5 million that we expect it's going to cost.
Thank you, Victoria.
Speaking of putting things on hold, I met with Ian down to the school the other day, and he was promoting a art center in Royalton. It was a pretty good chunk of change. Is that on hold?
That's a school board issue, and they are planning to ask for a bond vote later in the year, I believe.
That hasn't come across our radar screen.
I was saying, because they had numbers and everything all, so if we're putting anything on hold, I feel like that should be put on hold before a road that clearly is unsafe. And the other way to go about it too, is this like a Pike job, or is this a send out to bid job? Like, because just on the North Road, there's 7 excavator operators and people are getting hungry. So I mean, as far as like work-wise, is that what's the plan? I mean, can you save money that way by having local?
It's gotta be put out to bid.
The whole thing, one shot.
Yeah, I think V-Trans has recommended certain paving type, but.
Yeah, paving wise, that's going out to
Right,
Pike or somebody
that's
large,
going
but
out to one of the bigger ones,
but you're talking culverts and.
But they can subcontract out all the culvert, repair, or.
And that's not something you guys can do, like say, hey, listen, we got a problem here, we gotta have, we're gonna send these culverts out to bid, and then we're gonna send, dozing this off out to bid, we're gonna bring in gravel out to bid, like, I feel like the money, 1.5, I mean, I know it costs a lot, don't get me wrong, I've seen the numbers, but, like, paving is probably your biggest expense as far as excavating wise, culvert stuff, is that something you could send out to?
I know other local contractors who have said to me, I hope that Pike hires me or gives me an opportunity to bid on culvert replacement.
Yeah,
Because they're gonna sub out a portion of this,
yeah,
right? I think they wanna keep in-house what they do best.
but they're,
But you're not subbing it out, it's all through.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna go through a general.
You just get a big pipe,
Right,
we'll do
right.
it, and then they sub.
yeah.
Yeah. I would like to, yeah, it would be great to hire all local.
My thing is, I actually just talked to his brother there. He was up assessing my house for a new tax value. Not only my house, everybody's on the North Road. And he come up through, and I want to know There's 7 new houses on the North Road, 7 new people. How come my taxes keep going up and my roads keep getting worse?
Everything is going up. There's nothing we can do about that. That's the price. You go and buy a hamburger, it costs 4 times what it did 5 years ago. So everything is going up.
I understand about inflation. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the changing of the places. Like, if 7 new houses are going in, that's 7 new houses of taxes. And it's still, there's no relief on my end for all my property. It just keeps going up. And I'm paying more, and I'm getting less. Why? That is, my question is, why is it so many new places going in, and we're still looking like this on the North Road? And it's the Golden Road, so we get taxed on the Golden Road. Well, it's not that golden. It's rough. Yeah, that golden the whole road when I did it in the rain one time.
I don't have an answer for you, sorry.
I was kind of wondering that.
I'm back. Yep. I give everybody else a chance. If you were me and you were gonna talk to one of your neighbors about getting this road fixed, and you wanted to tell them what the selectman's opinion is of what the actual cost to the Royalton taxpayers is gonna be, could you feel comfortable saying it's $1.5 million minus 800,000? Is that the number I've heard thrown around tonight?
If we didn't spend it on this road, we're going to spend it on something else. So in essence, you're still going to be paying the same price for the road. It's where's the money coming from to pay for it. But
Wait a minute, you lost me. What'd you say?
I said if we didn't put the money into the North Road, we would be putting that money into something else. There's a lot of things that need to be done. And
The bond vote?
no, the reserve.
Well, I'm not talking about the reserve.
Well,
Is
what
that
are you
what you were
talking
talking about, the 800K as a reserve?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So
Where are we going to get it?
if one were to suggest to some neighbor that using the reserve and other sources of income, like B-Trans money and whatever else there is available, that the straight-up cost of fixing the North Road is $1.5 million minus 800K?
I would say it's,
I'm just saying, because I plan to talk to people about this.
No, I would say.
And I don't want to put words in your mouth.
No,
I
no,
want
no.
you to tell me what you think is logical.
That's a great conversation to have, and I would say that it, with what we have right now in a roads grant and what we have in reserve, it could be half this,
Could be what?
half the 1.5.
Okay.
I think that's,
And you think, and then you
that's,
think that?
yeah, I mean, that's what I'm gonna say to people,
Okay.
and, I'm comfortable with that.
That's why I asked. because-
I'm not as pessimistic maybe as you are. I think this is gonna pass.
I border on cynical.
You and I have had conversations on the phone before. But I do think it's gonna pass, and we're gonna put every available resource into it. It could be half.
Thank you, I appreciate it. I'm not trying to bust you guys' chops, but if you had to drive over that every day,
I don't see anyone here saying that we shouldn't do it. And you're the only people in the room, and you're saying, how come you haven't done it yet? So
Yeah.
where are the people that are saying they don't want
a
it?
pretty tiny percentage of the town population here. A lot of these people are.
We don't want to pay any more taxes, but this is something that needs to be done.
Okay, I'm done.
I will say, personally, I apologize that it took this long. I think anything, you've been select board members before, some of sometimes it feels like you're turning a tanker around in a tub. It takes long for some things to, like the funding to fall in place. I can apologize for that. It's kind of out of my wheelhouse, but I know that we're the point people for the town. So I apologize for that. I think we were very good getting our roads back into shape in 12 months or less. But when your bandwidth is being used up for certain things, other things do go by the wayside, and the North Road was one of them. So I apologize.
If this bond vote passes, how long before the road would be fixed?
I think Victoria's probably got her finger on that pulse better than I do.
So with the V-Trans grant, we're actually obligated to be substantially complete by December of 2025. So we've got, the civil engineer came and did the borings. He's almost done with his plans for construction. If the bond vote carries, we're gonna plan to put it out for bid this fall and have construction next summer. So we're trying to move.
So we're talking about that road being the condition that it is for probably another year.
Until next construction season, 2025, summer.
I want to
Yep.
know when are the things going to be fixed up there that need to be fixed? Like, for instance, these boys have been talking about on the corner, and that's been that way all summer. Has not been fixed yet.
Is this in front of your?
Right in front of my house.
Okay.
And it's been,
4 feet of the tar into the guy's lane.
We fixed it every, not the town has, we fixed it every time.
And it takes every rainstorm, the culvert doesn't run, and it cuts the driveway up. I mean, I've got.
I will help address that too.
I mean, I think even if it doesn't pass, there has to be some sort of maintenance to a certain extent. I mean, you've gotta get the culverts at least opened up so they're working. I mean, you gotta buy Daniel Barr's house. The water in the wintertime is a straight sheet of ice, comes right out of the field and runs down the middle of the road.
I mean, ditching alone.
I mean, just stuff the town crew alone could do, come through and fix the culverts. I mean, even if it's not fully, but it has to have some maintenance, because it's getting impassable.
Most of the time last winter, we did not get plowed until about 12:30.
And they didn't plow.
And they couldn't plow.
Couldn't plow. I mean, we had the sun is what took the snow off the road. They could not make the plows.
It doesn't hit, it hits in the middle.
I mean, there's just a few really bad spots that need to be taken care of for safety reasons, I think is my biggest concern.
Not only that, cost-wise to the town, I mean, you're dumping, a load of salt's $3 grand. I mean, and you're dumping a whole 1-ton load to try to get that to melt. I mean, that's not efficient.
And it's eating my car choices.
Right. And we're spending
I
money
don't
on
mean to
cars.
joke, but you're joking about it. All right. I'll look into that.
I think at least having some maintenance done, even if, I mean, this winter alone, I mean, especially that you're not gonna.
Bring up first. That needs to get, I mean, you can see the water comes out of that field and travels directly across the road, because there's no ditch to catch it. There's no culverts that are gonna take anything.
Yeah, and I mean, just a concern for the school buses. I mean, if you've ever followed the school bus, he has to drive in the wrong lane for
Over the knoll, right
over
where
the
the
knoll
cars.
through, down through the worst part of the thing because he can't travel on his side of the road.
Not only him, I mean, everybody, because the guys coming up are in the middle of the road, the guys going down are in the middle of the road, both sides of the road are total. Yeah.
Well, we'll see if we can get those addressed before winter again.
I'll ride that road again.
Yeah, I mean, I'm there, so if you need to point out where the bad spots are. So again, I'll ride.
I didn't need to ride.
Anybody else?
I'm glad you're optimistic. I hope it works.
We are too. I'm going to call this meeting, adjourn this meeting.